What is up, guys? Birthday boy Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today we are going to be taking the brand new exotic Heir apparent machine gun just added into Destiny 2 Season of the Worthy with the Guardian Games event and put it in the hands of a full fire team and run it through the largest raid in Destiny 2's history, Last Wish, to see how this weapon really performs in an endgame activity. And so, let's get started. Just before we do, last time I'm going to mention this, the 72-hour sale for Advanced GG has been extended just 24 hours, so it's going to end tomorrow morning. If you want to use code KHD, get 20% off. Try it. Fantastic product. Link in the description down below. Alright, now let's talk about this machine gun. Taking a look at its two unique perks. Firstly, intrinsically, it has Heavy Slug Thrower. Use the aim button to spin up. This weapon can only be fired when fully spun up. If you click the shoot button, it is going to do literally nothing. Then we have another unique perk, Armor of the Colossus. So if you're at full health, when you start spinning up this weapon, or when it gets to fully spun up, you get an arc overshield. Now, let's talk about this weapon's performance in the first raid encounter against Kalli. So, originally, you're holding down your plate and killing thralls, and here, this is fantastic. Like, it kills them in only 2 shots, and you have 200 rounds to spare at 900 rounds per minute. It is so easy to just spray a quick line across your screen and kill like 4 thralls. But of course, we're really interested in its performance against the actual raid boss Kalli. So how is it there? Well, I should mention that we have 5 Titans and 1 Warlock. The Warlock for the Well of Radiance to provide that healing, and the Titans are all using the Actium War Rig exotic chest piece. This makes it so that you will automatically reload your magazine from reserves as you just continuously fire. So essentially, you will never see me reload this weapon during this video, which is absolutely insane. And you can see that insanity. I mean, we get Kalli down to below half health in the first part of the first encounter. After hiding away for just one time in the doors, we come out and finish Kalli off. So we don't even need the second and third doors section. She's already dead. Guys, I have not tested a weapon this powerful in a raid like this for quite a while. Like, to be able to do that much damage that quickly is very impressive. So here, I'm gonna have to give this weapon a 9 out of 10. It is touching the top tier. Like, we shredded her. And also I want to mention, this thing is really accurate. Despite you not being able to aim down sights, at least on PC, you put the reticle over Kalli's head, which really matters. She has a big head multiplier. You can just lay down a ton of damage. In any event, let's move on to the next raid encounter against Shuro Chi. And here, we're really concerned about doing exactly 1/6 of her health, and if we don't, the team wipes. So of course, you know, consistent damage is important, but this is really testing burst damage, and as you can see, it's phenomenal here. It does, you know, take a little bit to kill her. It's not like instantaneous, it's not as powerful as some of the other things I've seen in just downing her so fast, but we were never under duress, we were never worried. It always got to that 6th chunk, and we were able to just run through Shero Chi pretty easily. Now, in this encounter, the ads are much more concerning. Like, you are gonna have to deal with a lot of ads. So obviously, taken armaments is a great thing, and machine gun finders and scavengers, the fact that those are capable to be equipped to Armor 2.0 has made this process a lot easier than it was before Armor 2.0, let me tell you. But it also means that this weapon is really just always going to have ammo if you have some of those things equipped, and its benefit of being phenomenal at taking out groups of ads, it really is measurable here. Like, there is so many times when, you know, Shero Chi is spawning just a dozen taken scions on her plate, and you're just able to mow through them in a second without worry. And a lot of other guns are not able to do that. It's really nice to have your heavy slot taken up by a weapon that's not only good against the boss, but is also good against ads. So often you have one or the other and not both. So That's all very good. I'm going to give this another 9 out of 10. Simply phenomenal. But moving on from there, the next raid encounter is yet another boss fight, this time against Morgeth, and obviously, we going for the one phase. If you can't one phase Morgeth, you know, are you even a weapon? Come on, dude. Anyways, how does this thing perform here? Well, again, the first part is chocked full of ads, not quite as important as Shero Chi, but important nonetheless, and this thing shreds them, always capable of having enough ammo. In fact, I really think that you could probably waste like 150 rounds against ads and then still have enough to take on the boss, which, you know, let's just talk about that. So against the ads, great. Now, interestingly, with Morgeth, we actually did have a big concern. The arc shield you produce can actually be popped like a PvE enemies, and it'll explode and deal way more damage to you than normal. So it's actually a liability in some cases if you're taking arc damage. Guess what element Morgeth's little swarm things are? The Seekers. They're arc. So we were thinking, oh my goodness, dude, if we get hit by those things, are they just gonna pop all of our Colossus arc shields and kill us all? Well, as you can see from the damage phase, thankfully, that didn't happen. In the well, we were able to resist a few of them hitting, but most importantly, the factor that negated that was that we killed Morgeth way before it was an issue. We absolutely destroyed Morgeth, and yeah, this was a pretty fast kill. Of course, there's other things that are a bit faster, but this was very consistent, you know, never really ran low on ammo too much. I would say the Actiums probably came up here. We did get beyond 200 rounds, so you may have to throw in a reload if you're on another class, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue. This thing shredded Morgeth. Another 9 out of 10. Alright, but moving on from there, our next encounter is really interesting because it's the Vault encounter, and for the first time, there's no big raid boss. You're just dealing with normal enemies and then some powerful knights, which really represent, you know, the challenging enemies within the game. So, you know, it's great against bosses. I have said it's good against, you know, normal enemies, but this is kind of the mini-boss style enemies. This is like facing some wanted enemies that you are going to run into quite a lot during just playing Destiny 2. So it gives you quite an accurate representation of how a weapon performs in kind of the normal experiences within Destiny 2. And it performed great. Like against the ads, as usual, red bars shredded, but against those knights, you can easily take them down singleton. Like you can kill them before you even need to reload, you know, with those initial 200 rounds easily, and you're putting forth enough damage that you're able to stun lock them for like the entire time you're shooting them. Now, I have seen things kill faster, but this was very consistent damage. Again, the accuracy helps. You're able to, you know, if your side is open, you're able to engage these knights when they first spawn all the way until they run out, no problem, without having to get any closer. And if you're using stuff like a shotgun, you sometimes have to wait until they get like right next to you. So was very impressed by the performance of this weapon again, and like it's almost like worth using in this part because not only are you able to solo those knights, as soon as you involve another teammate, they just get melted. Like, they are just deleted from the face of the earth. So, you know what? It's another 9 out of 10 for the Vault encounter. Wow. Now, moving on from there, this thing has been impressive, but how impressive is it really? This is the big daddy of the damage tests. This is the Riven encounter. And obviously, we're going for the cheese because we're just testing out damage. How much can this thing do in a very short period of time? Well, we rolled down there, rolled up to Riven, what's up, girl, and started shooting. Now, as you can see, we got her below half, and that is really not too bad. That's actually pretty impressive. Interestingly enough, if you look at the damage numbers, some of us did over 500,000 and some of us didn't. The lower damage people are running in there and getting a melting point off for that extra debuff damage. And then we thought, well, why don't we just make the Warlock use a tractor cannon and go at this again? And that's exactly what we did to test it, you know, in a different way for you guys. And as you can see, it kind of did remotely the same. We did a little bit more, I would say, this time, definitely beyond half health by quite a bit, but if you look at the damage numbers, all of us were very consistently above 500,000, with the ones, you know, doing the most, almost touching 600,000 damage. And while that's very impressive, you know, even if we threw on all transcendent blessings and stuff like that, you know, we'd be, if we could kill her, it'd be like so slight, and it would really be much more difficult than as necessary. Really, it's much more efficient just throw on a sword with whirlwind strikes and go in there and melee her hand. You'll get that done in absolutely no time. So this is just not great for killing Riven. It does more damage than I expected, but it's that consistent damage and not the burst damage that's great with this weapon, and therefore I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. It's certainly above average, but don't expect this to become the new Riven cheese strat or anything like that. However, we do have one more encounter, and that is the Queen's Walk. So we have the initial section where you jump out of her mouth and there's just ads everywhere. And of course, the gun I've been harping about being good against ads is phenomenal here as well. You just shred. The one somewhat tricky thing is that it's a little bit less mobile, because when you're spinning up, you're not able to like run or anything. You're standing kind of still. And so you can run into some issues with lagging a bit behind outside of the kind of ball carrier. And so that is a little bit of an issue. You need to be cognizant of like, oh crap, they're getting a little bit ahead of me. So that's the only kind of negative with this gun. But otherwise, it's great. It's great outside. And if you get teleported inside, you're facing the same exact knights that you were facing within that vault encounter. And so those guys just fold like a cheap lawn chair to your machine gun as well. It just stun locks them and you can kill them pretty darn easily. So in the Queen's Walk encounter, it's another 9 out of 10. And so we come to the final rating. Wow. This thing is actually pretty darn powerful. I never gave it a 10 because it doesn't touch the absolute top tier strats that are able to melt all these bosses faster. That's the thing. With this weapon, you can melt all of the bosses except for Riven. It's just with other things you can do the same, but faster. Regardless, this weapon's performance was excellent. Not only did it clown on pretty much all the bosses except for Riven again, but it was also phenomenal against the ads, which is something that not every like high damage dealing weapon can say. And so overall, I'm going to give the Heir Apparent a 9 out of 10 within this raid, with the one caveat being like if you include Riven, it's an 8 out of 10. But let's just forget about that. 9 out of 10, phenomenal weapon. Get your hands on this thing. It really is a joy to use. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.